So find that comfortable seat, let your eyes close. Take a full inhale, draw those shoulders up to your ears. And then sigh it out, let those shoulders drop by. Allow yourself to come into your space, onto your mat, and into your body. Take in your surroundings. Invite anything that might be a distraction to be part of your practice. And let go of anything that might become a distraction. If you can, leave it outside if you know it's going to become more of a distraction. But if you can, invite it to be part of the experience today as we get into the sensations of our body. Taking an inhale here. And let it go. Allow yourself to drop into that physical body as you scan from head to toe. And toe to head, just acknowledging where you are after today, after the week. We're going to be targeting the upper body for the most part, so a lot of arms again, shoulders, upper back. Just kind of check in with those areas today. We will still be dealing with the hips, targeting the hips and the knees a little bit as well, but our primary focus is that upper body. Taking an inhale here. And let it go. Dropping into that mental and emotional body. Check in with what type of week it's been, what type of day it's been. Notice where your thoughts and emotions lie. Give each of those a little bit of loving kindness, a little bit of validity. And then see if one by one you can start to let those go. Start to bring yourself more into the present. Forget about what happened in the past. Try not to move too far into the future. But become more and more present in your body, in your present state. And today's 2 meridians have different affirmations. Maybe these are something you want to set an intention around. The first affirmation for the pericardium meridian is I am relaxed or I am generous. The one surrounding the triple warmer is I am hopeful. So maybe one of those becomes your intention today, one of those affirmations. And let that settle into your mind's eye. And we'll set that intention, that affirmation with an om or a sigh of the breath. Go ahead and bring your hands to either cup your heart or press in front of your heart center. And then exhale fully here. Inhaling. As you exhale, release those hands down, let your eyes blink open. And we'll start as we've been starting most of these meridian line practices on our toes and our knees. So go ahead and shift yourself so you're tucking those toes under. All 5 toes point to the front. And again, if it's too much to sit back on your heels, lean forward ever so slightly into those toes. And then from there, slowly start to lean back. And again, if it's still too much, you can sit up on something, but you want those toes tucked under. So even if you have to lean forward a little bit, or maybe you put a block underneath your hips to take some of that pressure off, we're not going to be here too long. So this first round, I'm going to talk about the pericardium and the triple warmer. So just doing a little bit of tapping too, just to kind of pull ourselves away from our legs here. The pericardium, it starts right at the base, like kind of like across the pectoral line right here. So just taking one arm, just kind of start tapping just inside under your armpit, and then go up into your armpit, And then go down the inside part of your arm, down the inside part of your forearm, down into your palm, and then down the inside part of your ring finger between your pinky and your ring finger. And then go back up that from your ring finger, your palm, all the way up into the armpit, and then just outside the pectoral. And then switch sides, go to the other side. Going down, up the armpit, down that inner arm, inner elbow, all the way down to the the ring finger, and then back up all the way. This is the pericardium meridian, so that's kind of what we're targeting. And then once you're ending, point those toes back, sit back on those heels. So again, if it doesn't feel so good to sit on the heels, sit on a bolster, sit on a blanket, sit on something between. If it feels okay for your ankles, maybe start to lean back. So then getting into the triple warmer meridian, that triple warmer meridian, that one starts at the back of the hand on the ring finger. So you're going to tap that, back of the wrist, back of the palm, back of the arm, comes behind on the elbow, all the way to the upper arm, to the shoulder. Here it diverges where we can't feel it into our heart and our lungs and our intestines, but then it goes up the neck, behind the ear, and then it stops just outside the outer eye. So going back down that line, down the shoulder, the back of the arm, the elbow, back of the forearm, back of the wrist, back of the hand. And then we'll switch sides. So back of the back of that hand, all the way up the arm, the neck, around the ear, to the outer eye, and back down again. Once you get back to that little ring finger, switch it again. Tuck those toes, press it down. And then sitting there. So those are the two meridians we're working with. I'll continue to talk about those. And then going into a little bit of an arm stretch here, just kind of target those. Taking your right arm, bring it behind you. And then take your left hand and grab that right elbow. And just kind of keep working that right elbow over behind you, kind of finding a stretch on that right side. Just breathe with that sensation, kind of press into the back of the elbow, into the crook of the elbow, kind of stimulating those two meridians. The yin meridians will always be on the inside of the body, or the softer side of the body. And then the yang meridians, their counterpart, will usually be on the outside of the body. So a little bit more on that, places that get a little bit more tough, like those elbows, those rough elbows, right? Good, and then slowly point those toes again. And we're gonna go to the other side with our arms once we're there. Take that left arm behind you, grabbing onto the elbow. And then just pausing there. Finding a little bit of stretch in that left side. Finding a little bit of pressure holding on to the right elbow. Just kind of notice where your thoughts go. Notice where your breath goes. See if you can stay nice, even, steady breath. If you tend to hold your breath or grit your teeth, you're probably going a little too deep. Just a couple more cycles of breath here. And then the last round with these, tuck those toes again. And then this time you're going to take that right arm up over your head, behind your back, and then take that left arm and just draw it over. Let your arms then just relax. So we're targeting those meridians again. Just kind of noticing that sensation from armpit to elbow. Obviously, you still have those sensations in your toes, your ankles. Just kind of bringing some circulation to those areas, to the shoulder joint. We're going to target that shoulder joint a little bit more today. As well as we target the hips, the ankles, the knees, the spine. And then slowly release that. Point those toes back again, last side here. Taking that arm up and behind your head, the opposite side, so the left arm's up. And once it's up, just kind of relax the arms a little bit. See if you can keep your head pressing into that arm, just to keep it upright so you're not rounding forward. Just a few more cycles of breath here. And slowly release that arm. Shift your weight forward, bring your heels to one side. Sitting down, draw those knees in, and then rest your forehead on your knees. A little tuck position. Just kind of notice those sensations in the legs. Just allow yourself to drop more into that physical body. And then lean back, extend those legs out in front of you. Maybe point and flex the feet, circle the ankles. And then we're going to move to our next pose. So it's a seated pose, which is nice. So if you need a little bit of elevation under your hips, you have your blanket, you have your bolster or pillow, or even a block if you need it higher. We're going to come into what's called easy seat or sukhasana. So you're going to take your left heel in and then your right heel in. You're going to see if you can get your heels to line up. So it's not necessarily cross-legged, so your knees are a little bit wider. So you're going to target those hips a little bit more. And so if you feel like you're kind of like slumping forward, just prop up a little blanket or a pillow underneath your hips. So again, we're going to target the arms. We're going to do a little bit different. We're going to fold forward here. So as you fold forward, if you notice like you fold forward and those little sit bones come up, grab a block, a blanket, a bolster so that you can rest your head on something. So just have something forward that you can rest on in case you need that. And I'm just going to kind of turn it at an angle so you can continue to see. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your, since your left leg is in, you're going to take your right arm over first to your left knee, and then your left arm to your right knee, and then kind of round forward a little bit. So if you need to wiggle your feet in a little bit, do that. And then you're going to start to fold forward. So there's going to be a part you're targeting the spine, but you're also targeting those arms. And there's going to be a part where you're going to round forward and you're going to stop because your hips are going to want to come up. You want to keep your hips grounded. That's when you're going to rest your forehead on something. We're just going to be here for 3 minutes each side. So not too long, still warming up the body or settling into our body. So remember those principles of yin. Finding your edge, finding that place where you can sit with discomfort, where you can sit without having to fidget, without having to struggle, without your breath changing, but you feel sensation. So you're probably going to feel sensation in your spine, your shoulders, maybe your knees and ankles here. And one sensation might take over, totally fine, but as long as it's not painful, there's no sharp stabbing pain. See if you just breathe into that discomfort. And then we'll settle into the stillness. No fidgeting, no excessive movements. And then we sit for time. So our time in this pose is 3 minutes. So these two meridian lines, their element is fire. They are very similar to the ones we did last week of the heart and the small intestines. So same imbalances, same different things, but a little bit of extra. The pericardium, its emotion is relaxation and generosity. So as it had stated before, the intention for that or the affirmation is I am relaxed, or I am generous. And the pericardium meridian protects the heart, not only physically, but also energetically. It's kind of like our emotional temperature regulator. So it keeps us from, protects us from emotional stress, emotional shocks. It's it's a nice little heart protector. Whereas last week, the heart meridian was the emperor of all the meridians. So then you have this beautiful pericardium meridian that protects the heart. And as we talked about where it starts and where it goes down that inner arm to the ring finger, and back up from the armpits down to that pinky finger, to that ring finger. And when you combine it with the triple warmer, it kind of promotes a little bit more of community, trust, and intimacy. It helps promote those things in you. So when those are balanced, they're feeling pretty good. You're feeling like you're part of something because your heart is a little bit more open, you're relaxed, and you have that generosity in you. You're building the trust of the community, and you're feeling like you can be a little bit more open and build some intimacy with those around you, building relationships. Take a full inhale here, and side out. Stay rounded forward, release the hands around the knees, let those arms drop forward first. And then ever so slowly roll the spine up. Let your head come up last and just pause there. Notice how that feels. And then using your hands, slowly help those knees up. And then you're going to switch the feet around. So your right foot's going to go in closer to your body. Your left foot's going to be a little further out. So a little bit different. And so then this time your left arm is going to go to your right knee first, and then your right arm is going to go over your left. So a little opposite direction here. And then from here, start to round forward to see where you go. Might be a little bit more of some stickiness, maybe a little bit more openness. Be mindful of the knees. If the knees feel like there is any pain on the outer or inner knees, just prop the knee up so it has some support. And then once you found your edge, take a full inhale and settle in. So talking a little bit about the yang part or yang meridian to the pericardium, the triple warmer. So the triple warmer, its emotion is hope. So the affirmation that you would say regarding this one to balance it out is, I am hopeful. And the triple warmer, hence the name triple, it has 3 parts. And the 3 parts of this help regulate your chi. And your chi is that energy that's within you. In traditional Chinese medicine, they believe that the energy force within you is called chi. Whereas in the yoga lines, we call it prana. There's lots of different names for it throughout all different areas that people decide to study the body. But the 3 parts in Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, is that it regulates the chi in all of your organs. So the upper, you have the 3 parts for the upper, the middle, and the lower. The upper part regulates the intake of chi. The middle regulates the digestion or the absorption of chi into the body. And then the lower helps with eliminating any chi that you don't need, any excess energy. And all of those correspond to the organs that are in those areas. So with your intake, you have your lungs, your heart, then you have your stomach, your intestines, your spleen for all of the absorption. And then the lower, you have those intestines and the gallbladder and the urinary bladder for the elimination. So they go along very nicely with the actual functions of the body, but then also that energy body. regulating that energy as much as we need during the day when this is balanced. And again, we talked about how it goes from the back of the arm up to the side of the head to just the outer eye, running along the back side of those arms. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly release the grip on the knees. Let those arms slide down first. And then slowly start to round that spine up until you're up to seated. And then just pause there for a moment. Notice the sensations in the body, the shoulders, the arms. And then slowly, when you're ready, helping those knees up, taking those feet out, maybe just rounding forward, pausing there, or taking the legs out straight, whatever's going to feel best to you here. The legs have been bent for quite a while, so maybe straightening them out feels good. Maybe keeping them in feels good. Just kind of notice the effects, the sensations that that pose had on the body. There might be a lot, there might be none. Taking an inhale here, and let it go. From here, we're going to transition into child's pose. Have maybe a block or a pillow handy for your head. And you're just going to transition. See if you can make those knees a little bit wider in your child's pose. Taking those arms out in front of you, lengthening them out. We're just going to reach the arms forward again, targeting that yin meridian, the pericardium, letting the head drop down. Just taking a few deep breaths there. We're just going to be in this pose just for a minute, and then we're going to add into a little twist in this child's pose. And then once those arms are extended, sit back into those hips, kind of relax the arms a little. Let your forehead rest to the ground. If it's too much to press your forehead onto the ground, you always can turn your head to one side. So these two meridians, when they're in balance, you have lots of good feelings of love, joy, and peace, which are very similar to last week with the heart and the small intestine. When they're out of balance, you start to feel a lot more stress. You feel feelings of guilt, of hate, of nervousness. And then you also have these feelings of cravings. You know, it could be cravings for attention, it could be cravings for food, it could be cravings for whatever. You just have cravings when this is out of balance, when these two meridian lines are out of balance. So it's great that you're here. We're getting them in balance by compressing and extending on them. Exhale fully here. And as you inhale, walk yourself back up to your elbows. And then from here, slide your left elbow slightly forward. Take that right arm, slide it under the left arm. So you're going to lay down onto that right side. And this is where your neck, if it hurts your neck to drop down, you'll just slide a pillow or a blanket underneath your head so that you have a little support there for that. And then just reach that right arm over and then let it relax. Your left arm is going to extend overhead like it was in that child's pose position. It might even rest on your head, but you're lengthening that side. So you're finding a little bit of pressure on the outside of the right arm. You're finding some length in the inside of the left arm. But then we're still targeting the hips, the ankles, the knees. So a little bit different than how we did it last week, where we took our top arm and bound it. Today we're just letting everything kind of drop down into that bottom arm. We'll start to find some stillness. Notice the sensations that are happening in the body. And again, remember, if you're feeling it, you're doing it. You could be feeling it any place in the body. And then I just like to kind of play with breath. I like to have my breath get a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. Excuse me. I like to see how that plays with the effects, the sensations in my body. Taking a full inhale here. Let it go. Slowly slide that left arm back down. Press into that left hand and slowly slide that right arm out. Come back to center. And then slide that left or the right elbow forward, sliding that left arm underneath. Lengthen over as far as you can. And then let the head rest down. If you need to prop it on something, do that. And then take that right arm, extend it overhead, like you did in the previous pose. And then settle in, finding your edge. And again, playing a little bit with your breath, noticing how that feels to breathe a little differently. Just a few more cycles of breath here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Sliding that right arm back. And then slowly drawing that left elbow up. Just come to center on the elbows for a moment. And then press into those hands. Bring those knees to one side. And extend the legs out. And just pause there for a moment. Just check in with those sensations in the body. So this next one, you're going to need a little bit of space to the left and to the right of you. This is where you're going to need a rolled up towel or blanket for underneath your back. And you might want to have a pillow or blocks handy as well, just depending on what you need. So I'm going to take my blanket and I'm going to roll it up. Or take your towel and roll it up. And you can have it as rolled up as you want or as little as you want. I'm going to go with higher first. I can always unroll it if I feel like that's too high. But when I place it, when I go down to lay on it, I'm gonna lay it so it's right there, kind of where that pericardium starts, right there at that little armpit place. I'm gonna lay it right across the back there. So when I lay down. And so the pillow might come in handy behind your head if your block is up, if your bolster's up really high. You're just gonna lay back onto that. Get it right there across where it's lining up with that, so you find a little bit more weight going back. And then again, if it's too much openness for your head to drop down, if that's too much, you have something to prop your head up on, like a pillow if you need that. And then take the arms out wide. So again, you're trying to target that pericardium and triple warmer meridians by opening up. Knees can stay bent. If it feels okay, maybe they start to lengthen out, if that's okay for your low back. And then just kind of let the legs relax, let the toes drop out. And then once you're there, take a nice full inhale. And let it go. Settling into that stillness. So as you notice with our first few poses, we were compressing the front side of the body. And now we're opening up and lengthening the front side of the body. So all those meridians that run along the front side of the body are now being counterbalanced. Same that was happening with our arms. We were compressing the back of our arms, getting into that triple warmer. And now we're opening up, lengthening that front side, the pericardium. And again, just play with your breath. Notice how that feels in your body. The idea of unblocking these meridian, these chi lines, these energy channels in the body, is just to help you clear things out, to feel more balanced, energetically, emotionally, even physically. So obviously we're moving our body through physical poses. We're adjusting things in our body physically. So like this might feel good into the upper back, into the chest, into the shoulders. But then we're tapping into that energetic body as well, getting into the energy levels, moving some energy around, hopefully to help it move more freely, allowing us to feel better in our insides, our intestines, our blood, the other fluids that run through our body. And of course, we have our emotional body, right? Right now, our heart is lifted and exposed a little bit. And sometimes this can be uncomfortable if that pericardium or heart meridian is imbalanced. So hopefully you might be, if you notice these things, you can help change them. Some emotions might come up here, totally valid. Just notice them. If they become a distraction, bring yourself back to the physical body. So we're going to transition here. We're going to roll toward our right side. So our left leg is going to be out at the side. So you're going to start to transition. You're going to take your left hand over toward the right, bend your left knee, start to roll over to your right side, and then take that left knee, draw it out to the side. We're going to half a frog. Slide yourself back onto that bolster so that your right below your sternum is on that bolster and your elbows are up in space. So your left leg is out to the side. Your arms are out in front. If it's too much to be up on your arms, you can lay forward and rest your head on a block, a blanket, a bolster. If you want more stress or more sensation, elbows can go on a blanket, a bolster, a block. So here we're targeting that inner thigh, knee, low back. And notice if you're squeezing in your glutes, your booty, see if you can relax that. And then your head can stay upright, maybe it drops down, maybe it rests on something. Whatever's going to feel best to your body. So there is that little stress in the low back, making sure it's not too much. Just kind of notice those sensations that are happening in the body. As you're here, noticing those sensations, just notice if there's anywhere you might be holding any excess tension, any muscular energy. And see if you can relax it as you exhale. Might be the jaw, the face, might be in the feet. So as you scan over the body, noticing the sensations, just notice if there's excess tension and see if you can let it go. Helping that triple warmer eliminate some of that excess energy that you don't need right now. Taking an inhale here. Let it go. We're going to transition from here back onto our back. So slide that right elbow over to the left. Slide that right elbow back out. Start to stack yourself onto your right hip. And then slowly start to transition yourself onto your back again. Bringing that roll right underneath your shoulder blades where it was before. And then again, start with your knees bent. Maybe this time it feels a little bit different to have that pillow or bolster if you had it under your head, not there this time. I'm finding that just that little right spot, right? So if you were to line up the bottom of your armpit, it would be right over that roll. So your armpit's up high, your arms are up high. And if it feels okay, lengthen the legs out. Let the legs relax. If it's too much for the lower back to have the legs straight, keep them bent, maybe even knock the knees in. Maybe just kind of really tap into the body here. Notice any physical changes from the first time you did this pose till now. So definitely targeting the spine. With the roll underneath us, our low back has a little less compression, our mid back has a little bit more of the compression. Maybe notice any little subtle shifts emotionally or mentally the second time for this pose. Taking a full inhale here. Let it go. Transitioning to the other side, so bend your right knee. Start to bring your right arm over across the body to the left. And then start to bend that right knee across the body out to the left. Bring yourself onto your belly with that roll right underneath your sternum. And then keeping that right leg out to the side, knee is bent. And then kind of settle in here with whatever's going to feel best for your low back. Take a first few breaths here to kind of fidget. And then once you're where you're feeling that level of discomfort where you can sit, take a full inhale and settle into stillness. Again, your head can stay lifted, it can rest on something. Your head can even dangle at the end of your neck, just putting a little bit of that tension, that stress on the neck as well. Knowing that that triple warmer meridian comes right up through the neck. So giving that a little bit of length, some extension. We have about 1 more minute here. And taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to transition to your back again. So using that right arm to help you slide the left arm over. Draw that right leg back up. Slowly start to transition onto your back again. Taking that bolster right onto your shoulder blades again, and just pausing there, just here for a moment. Knees can be bent or straight, again, as what feels best to you. Just a little shorter time here, just kind of resetting. And slowly start to bend the knees if they're not already. Take your arms down by your sides, start to draw your chin to your chest. Kind of lean into those elbows and maybe roll to one side. Take that bolster out from under you. And just return all the way back down to the ground. Let those knees knock in, let your feet be apart distance of your mat. Maybe let your hands rest on your belly. And just kind of notice the effects from those two poses on each side of your body. Feeling the sensation of your mid-back and contact with the ground again. Take a full inhale here. And let it go. Draw those knees into the chest for a moment, give them a little squeeze. And then making your way up to seated ever so mindfully. Maybe roll to one side to press yourself up. This next one, we're gonna have our chest elevated a little bit. So this might be where those pillows come in handy. I'm gonna use my pillows and my blanket for this. I'm even gonna use maybe a couple props so I can elevate my chest. So it's kind of like a version of Supta Baddha Konasana, where we're laying on our back with our knees bent. I'm just gonna find a little angle that I can find for my back. So it can be as high as you want it, that angle could be as high or as low as you need it. We're gonna then work with our legs a little bit in taking our legs back. If that doesn't feel good, you have another option with your legs. So I'm gonna show you the option with your legs if your knees don't feel good, bending backwards first. So that might be for some people, you might already know that's you. I'm gonna take my blanket, lay it right over the top. And then I'm gonna have a little extra back here, so I'm gonna kind of be able to tuck that under for my head a little bit, so it's slightly supportive. And then, so we're gonna lean back against that. And so we have that nice little incline. My head can go on a pillow. First variation, if you know your knees don't bend back, you're gonna come into that Baddha Konasana, your knees wide, so butterfly pose. Arms are gonna extend out or even overhead to really target those meridians. If you need something to rest your hands on, this would be your first pose. If you're feeling okay in your knees and your knees are happy, taking your right leg only and bending it back in that little half hero pose. So this is called saddle pose. So your foot's gonna press down, your foot is outside of your hip. If it's too low for you, if that's too much flexion of the knee, you can sit up on something to lessen that a little bit. And then same idea, you're going to start to lean back, but keep that left leg bent. So the left leg will stay bent, it won't straighten out, it'll just stay bent. For some of you, that if this is good for you and you want to do both legs at the same time, you will stay there the entire time. But we're just going to go with half here today. And then relax into that again. Your arms can come up overhead. And pausing there. So if you're doing both legs, if you're feeling comfortable in your body to do both legs in this position, you'll just stay there while we transition from one side to the other. If you're doing half with me, we'll transition after a few moments here. And if you're in that reclined butterfly pose, you'll just stay there the whole time as well. Just kind of notice the sensations in the body. So we are targeting the legs, the knees, the hips a little bit. The spine, but then with those arms overhead, we're getting back into that pericardium and triple warmer meridians. See if you can settle into that stillness. Be mindful that there's no sharp sensations in the shoulders or the knees. It's a place where you can sit with discomfort, but not pain. Remember, the pain is the body's way of saying something is not right, so you should not sit with pain. Discomfort, you can sit with that. Just a few more cycles of breath here if you're in the half version. Take a full inhale here if you're in the half version. And as you let it go, slowly bring those arms down by your side. Gently use those hands to press yourself up. And extending that right leg out. And then taking the left leg, bend it back. And then just kind of notice how that feels. Maybe this side you need to prop up a little bit. Maybe you're fine with your hips on the ground, and then bend the right leg and slowly start to lengthen back again. And just kind of notice this side might be a little bit different. Maybe you need to sit up a little bit taller with this side than the other side. So in each time, it's going to be a little bit different in your body. Our bodies are not balanced. And then taking those arms overhead if that feels okay. So really opening up that pericardium, meridian, lengthening it, and compressing the triple warmer on the back of the shoulders and the neck. And once you're there, settle into stillness with a nice exhale. The great part about these two meridians is they're like great protectors of all of the other parts that are happening in our body, all those other meridians. With the pericardium meridian, it protects the heart. It protects you mentally, emotionally, physically from different stressors that happen. And then you have that triple warmer, right? It's nourishing and giving nutrients and energy to all the organs, those main organs in the body, to help you continue to be who you are day in and day out, allowing you to be the best you, and keeping them balanced, keeping them healthy, supplying them with what they need and eliminating what you don't need. So taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly bring those arms back down by your side. You're in that half version, slowly start to press yourself up. If you're in the full version, start to press yourself up. Extend both legs out. And then slowly start to recline back again. Just having both legs out, so letting your heart be lifted. Maybe take the arms out wide, let the feet drop out wide. Just take a few moments here. Notice the sensations in the body. And taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bend those knees. Bring those hands behind the thighs, start to curl the chin to the chest, and slowly start to use your core and your arms to bring yourself up. Then just kind of round forward in that little tuck position for a couple moments. Noticing the effects, checking in with that body. And then as you're ready, you're gonna remove all of that out from under you and make your way onto your back again. We're gonna come into a twist. Our twist is gonna be a little bit different. In that normally we try to stack our hips, but today we're not gonna try to stack them because we wanna target that meridian line of our arms. So we wanna target more of the arms. And so you're gonna keep your hips fixed right where they are. And then draw your knees up to the sky. And then keeping your hips where they are, drop those knees to the right. And so they're not going to touch, so this might be where you might need maybe something to support underneath that top knee or the bottom knee if it doesn't make it to the ground. But then take that left arm and really extend it out as far as you can away from you. Reach, 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 find that length on that inner armpit, and then relax the arm down. So again, you can have maybe some support if you need the support for that top leg, because it might be hovering a little bit more than normal here. And then just breathe into it. Pausing here. Maybe that right hand rests on your belly. And if you want to target the neck a little bit, maybe you even look toward that left arm. So now we're targeting the spine. We're targeting a little bit of that shoulder joint. But then we're really targeting those meridians of the arm. Just a few more cycles of breath here. And taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring that left hand to your left shoulder. And then draw your left arm over to the right. Use your right arm as a pillow. Just roll all the way over to that right side. Pause there. Now your hips are stacked, your shoulders are stacked. Just kind of notice the sensations on that top side. Good, and moving mindfully, bring yourself onto your back again. Pause there for a moment. Draw your knees up to the ceiling. And then start to draw those knees over to the left. Let them drop again. That top leg might hover, no problem. And then take that right arm, reach it up to the sky, and then reach it away from you as far as you can. Reach, 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 reach. And then let it relax. Good. Kind of just notice those sensations. Notice if you need any props between your knees. Maybe your left hand rests on your belly. If you'd like to target the neck, you can look over and past toward that right arm. And just settle in here, settle into stillness. Few more cycles of breath here. And taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Taking that right arm, bring that right hand to your right shoulder. And then start to draw that right elbow to the sky. Roll it all the way over to the left. Use your left arm as a pillow. Lay onto that left side. Pause there for a moment. And then mindfully making your way onto your back. Pausing there. Okay, good. Place the soles of your feet on the ground. Take your hands by your side. Just pause there for a moment. If you need to take any motions to release that pose, maybe windshield wipers, maybe hugging the knees in a little bit more. Go ahead and do that now. And then otherwise start to help yourself into Shavasana. And your Shavasana can be maybe staying on your side, it can be on your belly, your back, it might even be sitting up, whatever's going to feel best to you today. So take time to find your restorative position. We'll just be here for a short time, about 3 minutes, just to let yourself reset and restore from the practice. And since you are at home, if you would like to stay longer, once I ring the bell, you are more than welcome to stay longer and just let this play out. And I'll see you next time. Otherwise, I'll bring us out of Shavasana with the one sound of the bell, and I'll bring us back together to end our class together. Take rest. Feeling free to stay here and restore if you need to longer. If you're ready to end the practice with me, start to deepen your breath. Bring some movement into the fingers and toes, the wrists and ankles. And start to reach your arms back behind your head, slide your feet together, give yourself a long stretch. And then when you're ready, bend the knees, either windshield wiper those legs or hug them in. As you're ready, roll over to one side, pause there for a moment. Checking in mentally, physically, acknowledging the shifts from the practice today. And then when you're ready, mindfully press yourself up to seated. Finding a comfortable seat, allow your eyes to close if they've opened, and allow your hands to press at your heart center or cup your heart. Allowing yourself to be in your space, on your mat, and in your body. Noticing how you're feeling. Maybe a little bit more balanced. Feeling the energy of these two meridians running through your body, helping protect and nourish yourself. We'll seal this practice in with an om or a sigh of the breath. Exhale fully here. Inhaling. Bowing your head slightly. Taking a moment before you transition off your mat into your evening ahead. Think of one thing in your life that you truly are grateful for. And then hold on to that image in your mind's eye as you raise your head with a smile. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time for yourself. Namaste.